I can't do it. Nothing ever goes my way. I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. I'll never succeed. Others are so much better than me. See, these are all lies that we tell ourselves due to having a poor mindset and being so negative. And I assure you, all of these things are absolutely not true. So oftentimes we ask ourselves, can I end up developing a positive mindset? So today I'm going to share with you 5 actionable tips on how you can start changing and developing a more positive mindset. And the first tip is learning how to be more grateful. See, the fact that you're even here listening to this podcast is absolutely amazing. The odds that you are even actually here are estimated at about 1 in 400 trillion. You heard that right. 1 in 400 trillion is the odds that you're here today breathing and being able to listen to this podcast. See, as humans, sometimes we spend so much time focusing on the things that you don't have compared to the things that you do have. You see, if someone were to look into my life and just try to pick out all the negative things of going back from childhood to now, of growing up in a home where I grew up with my real father but not my real mother, not really caring about education and doing not so great in high school, failing out of college, going through a house fire, finding my real birth mother to have her back out of my life in a year and a half once I saw her true colors, losing my dad. We have one child with special needs. We have one child that is not on the spectrum, bought a nice home, and we have 2 nice, reliable vehicles that someone would just say is just a bunch of useless debt. And to support the life that we have and wanting to provide a life for our kids that we didn't get to have growing up, me and my wife both sacrificed a lot by working a ton of hours to make sure that we can keep the bills paid, food on the table, roof over our head. You see, someone could break that down and just look at all the negative things about it. But in reality, we have 2 amazing kids who are so intelligent. We've got a nice home, reliable vehicles. We don't have to worry about going hungry. And I've got an amazing wife who will be celebrating 12 years of marriage this year. I have so much to be thankful for. I wouldn't change a thing about my life at all. So, along with being grateful, if you start shifting your perspective and look at things in a different way, you're going to start seeing the positives. And so, some small things that you can do, you can make a gratitude journal where every day you just take a few things, you look at your day and your life, and you write down things every day that you're grateful for that you wouldn't want to have any other way. One other thing that you can do is making sure that you're surrounded by positivity. See, if you look at your circle of friends or family or people that you talk to every day, I'm sure that you could start pinpointing people in your circle who are always negative and can never see the light in anything. And this is something that I've done myself. When I graduated high school, I was surrounded by a lot of the wrong people. And so I had to look at my circle and decide, who wasn't there to push me and help me stay inspired and help me get to the place that I wanted to be in life. And to this day, if I look at someone that's in my circle and I realize that this person doesn't want me to move forward with where I want to be in life, if they don't want to push me to achieve the goals that I want to achieve, then I really don't need that person in my life. So I remove them. And while it may seem harsh and it can be difficult, especially when it comes to family, which I've done this with family too, it is difficult and I understand that. But again, and so with that, I highly urge you that you start digging into your circle and finding out who is pushing you for the better and who do you feel is just weighing you down. And the next thing that I think a lot of people overlook, and I have overlooked myself and still slip up with this from time to time, is practicing self-care. See, we all get so busy with daily life that it's easy to get out of shape. It's easy to start eating unhealthy foods, not relaxing, not doing things that help, and just overall doing all the things that aren't really good for you. And this is a difficult one. I'm not perfect with eating habits. I'm not perfect with exercise or anything like that. But these are things that I'm aware of, and I do try to make changes where I can to make healthier choices for eating, exercising when I'm able to. And again, those are things that I need to push harder for, right? And things like this can even be part of your mental health. Like if you like getting your hair or your nails done, or just going to a park and sitting on a bench and reading, whatever it might be that works for you, whatever your interests are, like make it a point to start doing that stuff more. And one thing that you can do to help see if you are able to do these things is just keep a log of, today I was able to meditate for 25 minutes, or, you know, this week I was able to go to a yoga class, or go to a park and read, or just reading at home, whatever it may be, keep a log of that stuff. That way you can say, this month I was able to spend 4 hours on my personal well being. Now, this next one's really big with how big social media has gotten the past decade, and how much media we put in front of our eyes, and how that media can be detrimental to your well being. And so, this is similar to doing your inner circle audit, but this is doing a social media audit. So, when you're on social media, anyone that's watches, YouTube or Facebook Reels or any of the short form video content or TikTok, you know as well as anybody that if you're scrolling through TikTok and then you see a video and within the first 2 seconds of the video you hear, police sirens or someone yelling or something like that, like there's so much negative content out there that grabs people's attention and will hold their attention much more than positive content. And it's literally because people are chasing views, and those views come by people that are consuming the content. So just imagine for a second, if you were driving down a road and if you were to look off to your left in the distance, you would be able to see Saturn pulled close enough to the Earth that we could see Saturn and all its rings, which would be a sight that no one has seen before, and it would be spectacular to see. But if you looked off to your right and there was a horrific train accident and the train's on fire, and people are hurt and things like that, you would have to assume someone would rather film the train wreck because that's going to get a bunch of views. So now surrounding yourself with more positive media can be done in a multitude of different ways. So this can be anything from books to the short form content that you watch to podcasts, movies, things like that. And I'll give you an example of what I've done to help the content that I consume. So when I'm on my YouTube channel, I go and subscribe to motivational speakers like John Waller, Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, Andrew Tate, like many of these different entrepreneurs that when I see their content, they give me ideas for my own content, or if I'm going through things daily or just need some inspiration and I see their content, it keeps my brain turning, and I'm focusing on stuff that I truly enjoy hearing and learning about. Now, if you were subscribed to World Star and all these different channels or Facebook groups that post stuff about people fighting and hurting each other, the media, the news, and it's all negative information. When you're subscribed and following all that stuff, when you're subscribed to all of this negative junk, all of the social media algorithms are programmed. If you're subscribed and following all of these pages, they're programmed to put more of that content from those pages and similar pages in front of your eyes because they know that you're going to consume it. You're literally having an algorithm using your interests of all of this negative content to push more negative content in front of you to keep consuming. And it can be a rabbit hole of negativity that you don't even realize is happening. So I highly recommend going through the Facebook groups that you follow. And if you're following ones that don't have great content and you don't want to see that content or worry about that content, and on most social media sites, you actually have a tab that you can go to that says, I don't want to see this content. So you can do that so that way you don't see the content anymore, and you can start following stuff that is uplifting and inspiring and helps you improve your life and your mindset and keeps you motivated. Now, last on this list is being more mindful and having more self-awareness. And this is one that just yesterday at the time of recording this that I struggled with, and it hasn't happened yet. And so I was kicking myself in the butt. And of course, my wife, being the awesome person she is, she just gave me the cold hard truth that I needed to not think that way, and that I absolutely am not a failure, and that I'm going to succeed. And so after I talked to her about this, both last night and today, I decided to ensure that I was consuming the positive content that I needed. I got on my YouTube and I jumped on Gary Vaynerchuk's channel and on his podcast for a little bit. And I started listening to some of his podcasts, and I jumped on his YouTube channel and watched some of his videos where he was talking to people that were going through similar feelings as I was. That helped me change my whole mindset. And in doing that yesterday, that's actually how I got the idea to make a podcast episode on this topic. And so this is something that you can keep a mental note on, or if you do like to do journaling, writing down your thoughts and reflecting on the day of what good thoughts did you have, what bad thoughts did you have during the day, what can you do to fix the bad thoughts, right? Or you can take this and go into the self-care mode and say, okay, I've got this going on, I need to change my headspace, I need to do something that I enjoy doing to get me in that better mood so I don't just keep thinking and dwelling on this. So I hope that these tips are able to help you start taking action on how to change your mindset, because I guarantee you, no matter what you've been through, you ultimately can develop a positive mindset. Now, if you enjoyed this, the best thing that you can do to help support the show and help the show to grow would just be to share this podcast episode onto your favorite social media platform. That would do absolute wonders for me. So whatever you're going through, it's going to be okay. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for listening to The Power Within, and we'll talk.